What's up, everybody? I'm back, and it's that time of year again. March Madness is here, and of course, that means I gotta fill out a bracket, and I'm filling it out with you guys here to watch me do it. As you can see, I'm filling it out just a mere hours after, not even an hour actually, after the selection show ends. But the full bracket is here. We're going to go through each game. I got a lot to talk about for some of these teams. Some very controversial decisions as far as who was going to get in, who didn't. This is the one that I'm doing. I'm just doing the CBS. I like the CBS one personally myself. And this is just the one I can win a trip to the Final Four next year. Fuck yeah, I'd love to go to the Final Four next year, obviously. That'd be great, though. I'd love to go. So, that's what I'm doing. But there will be others that I will fill out that will look different from this one. But I'll make it most as I can as an objective choice for each of these. And I'm going to talk about them and kind of go through them. But anyway, let's just jump into it. We got a lot to pick here. I can't get rid of this, by the way. I probably will fill out a women's bracket. But I don't care to win a Nissan Armada with it, especially with those guys sitting next to it. I don't want that. Anyway, we'll start in the South bracket. We'll go in the order that they were revealed. This one should be pretty cut and dry. Auburn beating Alabama something, Southern Alabama State, or whatever the fuck it is. That should not be that close to a match. Though Auburn has lost 3 of their last 4, so it wouldn't be the most surprising upset, personally, out of all the upsets that could happen here, which there are a lot of them. We'll get to that, or a lot of potential upsets, I should say. But I don't think Auburn will be one of them, at least in the first round. Louisville Creighton, picking Louisville. The ACC was incredibly weak this year. I think Louisville is only one of, I want to say, 3 ACC teams to make the tournament. No, 4. Should have been 3, but it was controversially 4. We'll get to that a little bit later. But Creighton also, the Big East was also very weak this year. So I'm going to give that one to Louisville. And here's our first upset, baby. UC San Diego beating Michigan. This is not just because I hate Michigan, but fuck Michigan, obviously. But this is also because they, to me, even though they won the Big Ten tournament, they only won the Big Ten. I don't know how they won the Big Ten. Well, they won the Big Ten tournament because Maryland cannot perform in big games, and Wisconsin decided to stop shooting the lights out when it didn't matter for me anymore. So, yeah, whatever. They still have terrible guard play. Their big guys are just not utilized well. And UC San Diego 30-4, I believe, on an 11-game winning streak. That's pretty damn good. So they're going to be riding in a lot hotter than Michigan is. Michigan with a quick turnaround. They're going out to play in Denver. So I think give this one to UC San Diego. Texas A&M and Yale. Yale would be a, I thought personally would be the 5-12 upset for Michigan, or the 4-13. But they're playing Texas A&M instead. Another SEC team. There were, by the way, 14 of the 18 SEC teams that are in the conference made the tournament. That's an all-time record, which is just bullshit in my opinion. But I'm going to pick Texas A&M to win this one, though I think that'll be a close game. I think it will be, just because the 4-13 games honestly have become a lot more high premise and powerful than they have been in previous years. Seeing a lot more 4-13 upsets than we are 12-5s, I would say, even. At least bigger upsets in that range. So, but I don't think this one will be one, but it'll definitely be a close game. Ole Miss playing San Diego State. We'll give that one to Ole Miss, though again, I could see that one going either way. Ole Miss is a very unexperienced team, though they have a pretty good team. Another SEC team could do some damage, at least early on. Iowa State playing Lipscomb. I'm going to give this one to Iowa State. Pretty self-explanatory there. Marquette and New Mexico State. I'm going to give this one to Marquette. And the MSU, obviously my team, playing Bryant. Here's what I'll say about MSU this year. I know they just lost to Wisconsin. It's some bullshit. I don't care that it was all ball in the replay. There's no way in hell that the ref could just see that it was all ball. He should have blown the whistle. Yes, it would have been bad, but you know what? You would call that 500 other times. Why wouldn't you call it there? Anyway, they're playing Bryant. They're either going to lose this first game, or I think they could very well make the Final Four. I don't think there will be much in between. Well, there could be in between, but I think they'll either lose this game or make the Final Four. But as far as this bracket goes, I can't pick against them. I'm having to move on to the second round. Bryant shouldn't be that much of a challenge, but if we have a bad shooting night, look out. Rant of the century would happen if that was the case. Move down to the West bracket now, actually. I'm not doing them in the actual order that they were revealed. Sorry, I went against my sayings from earlier. Florida playing Norfolk State. Easy one there. Florida moving on. UConn and Oklahoma. This will be the first SEC loss, I think. With UConn moving on to defend two-time defending national champions. Had a pretty weak season, but they are still a dangerous team in March. I think they'll take down Oklahoma, who has a terrible SEC record this year. They were undefeated in non-con, and that's why they were even considered. Granted, all 18 SEC teams were technically considered, I guess, because the media loved the SEC this season. Memphis playing Colorado State. This has some potential for an upset, in my opinion. So I can see this being a close game. I am going to give this one to Memphis, however. They're a good team. They're a really good team. They were really hot early in the season, kind of cooled off midway through the season. They're picking back up again. I could easily see them making a run. But the Colorado State, though, I would not be surprised if they won. Maryland versus Grand Canyon. Now, here's the thing with Maryland. They have no depth. They have 5 good starters, but no good bench players. Nobody to pick up the slack. That's why I'm going with Grand Canyon. They just recently pulled off a big upset in the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to do it again against the Maryland team that's seeded really high, had one of their best seasons in a long time, but again, no depth, I think, is going to be a problem for them. I'm not saying this necessarily is 100% guaranteed, but Maryland, they're another team that I think is either going to lose the first round or is going to make a deep run. No in between, but I'm going to have them losing there, just because why the fuck not? Missouri and Drake. Drake, a really good record. In fact, they have the lowest points per game defense out of anybody in the country. I learned that in the selection show. They're playing Missouri. Another SEC school. Let's pick Drake. Going to the next round. Missouri, I would not be surprised Missouri wins. Let's be real here. But Drake coming in hot. Maybe they'll make some noise. I got Texas Tech over UNCW. I think Texas Tech was a little too high seeded in my opinion. I think personally Maryland should have been the 3 over Texas Tech. But, what can you do? Now, here is a section of games that I am most interested in this first couple of rounds here, outside of MSU's games. First off, we have Kansas and Arkansas. Bill Self versus John Calipari. Both the Kansas ranked number 1 in the preseason, had a terrible mid-stretch of the season. Meanwhile, Arkansas, first season with John Calipari, they had a really strong finish, but a not-so-great start. They sneak in the 10th seed. This will be one of the best games of the first round. Putting my word on it now. This is a tough one to choose. Kansas has the better players, but I think Arkansas has the better team because Kansas is with Hunter Dickinson. He's a ball hog. He doesn't play a good teammate. He kind of brings everybody else down, but he's still a really good player. But I'm going to actually take Arkansas here. Might be a controversial choice, and I really would not be surprised if Kansas wins this game, but I'm going to take Arkansas. Moving on. And then an easy choice here, St. John's beating Omaha in that round. We'll get back to that game later because that would be a very fun second round matchup. We'll get to finish the first round. First, Duke beating American. Not surprising there. Cooper Flag especially coming back. I think that'll be huge for them. I'm going to Mississippi State beating Baylor, though I think that could be a really good game as well. Oregon, that's a glorified home game for them. Also, fuck Liberty. So I'm going to pick Oregon to win that matchup. That's in Seattle. So that'll be a good one there. Arizona Akron, the winner of the MAC. Strong season, one of their best seasons in program history. Going against an Arizona team that I think is a little high seeded. They hadn't been really talked about much this year. So this is, I think, the better team. But it's March. The better team doesn't always win. Unfortunately, though, I got to pick Arizona to win that game. They're going to have home court because they're going to be out west. It's not going to be like in Arizona, in Seattle, but Akron's in Ohio versus Arizona's in Arizona. So I think that will be the difference maker there. And then BYU playing VCU. Let's go VCU. Another 11 seed moving on in my bracket. Because again, fuck BYU. Now in this matchup, I really want to take Montana to beat Wisconsin. Because Wisconsin, in my opinion, is not a good 3 seed. They are very boom or bust. I've been watching a lot of them recently because they played MSU twice. So I just watched the Big Ten Championship and all that. Wisconsin lives and dies by the 3 ball. And that is not a recipe for success in March. Even though they have good guards, they have good big guys, they can do other things. They just take a lot of threes, and when the threes aren't falling, they are 100% beatable. But and I really do want to take Montana over Wisconsin. I would not be surprised if Montana pulls off this upset, but I'm not going to say it will happen. I'm going to pick Wisconsin to win. I think Greg Gard, he's a pretty good coach. And I think he'll tell his players, let's just use the paint. They're going to utilize the paint. They're going to get the foul calls. They're going to pull away probably late. And what would be otherwise a close game, in my opinion. But don't be surprised if Montana wins this. Just don't. St. Mary's versus Vanderbilt. Fuck A.J. Hoggard. I'm taking St. Mary's to win that game. And then Alabama will easily take down Robert Morris, in my opinion, in the first round. So that's that region done. We got one more region to go in the first round. Houston, I think they're going to beat SIUE. So I don't have any 1 seeds falling in the first round. Out of all of them, I think the most vulnerable is Houston. Houston or Duke, but I don't see that those are still very low chances in my opinion. So I'd have to pick both of them and move on. Georgia is way too highly seeded. I'm taking Gonzaga over them. No questions asked. Georgia should be nowhere near a 9 seed. They should be an 11 seed or a 10 seed. They should not be a 9. They beat Florida and automatically are put in the tournament conversation. What the fuck, even though their record is bad. I got Clemson over McNeese. Should be a pretty easy matchup there. Clemson, the only other real ACC threat other than Duke this season. So nothing crazy there. Then we have Purdue and High Point. High Point, a good record this year. Purdue, a kind of a downer year without Mr. Foulman Zach Edey to play. Spoiler to a lot of upset bids. Purdue is really a two-horse game for them. Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn. And we've seen how if you shut them down, they can't do anything. That is why I'm taking High Point to win the first game. There's no way that they don't at least try to stop them. Obviously, you've got other guys that kind of heat up. Fletcher Lawyer, he's kind of there, not really. And I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue wins this game. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a couple games, get to the Sweet 16. But for the sake of the funny and for the sake of trying to be out there, I'm taking High Point to win. And then we got Illinois versus Texas. Texas should not be anywhere near this bracket. They just shouldn't. They just shouldn't. I believe they're playing in a play-in game versus Xavier, which is wild. That they shouldn't even be anywhere near the tournament. They shouldn't. It's crazy that they're even at this point. Taking Illinois to win. Also, North Carolina, I should shout them out. They're playing against San Diego State in this play-in right here. It doesn't change anything. I think UNC is also ass, and they got in only because of their brand. Just like I think Texas got in only because they wanted to add another SEC school to the roster. And I think that is just bullshit. So fuck them. Fuck them. Kentucky, way too highly seeded. At 22-11, they get a 3 seed, whereas schools with much better records get seeded, or even records to Kentucky get seeded way lower. Still gonna pick them to beat Troy, though. Again, yeah, they're definitely not a 3. They're definitely not a 3 seed. UCLA versus Utah State. I'm taking UCLA in this one, and I'm going to take Tennessee to beat Wofford in that round. So that is the entirety of the first round. I mentioned the 11 seed first 4 matchups. There's also the 16 seed first 4 matchups. It doesn't change my choice. I don't know whoever wins those. I don't know why CBS didn't put them in. I just caught it. Like when I was down here, I caught it. I'm like, what the fuck? Why does it say Texas? I think is the script leaked? This is the script. It leaked. I don't know. But now we can move on to the second round of games. Auburn, Louisville. I'm going to take Auburn to win this one. Texas A&M versus UC San Diego. I'm going to pick Texas A&M. Ole Miss, Iowa State. I don't want another SEC team moving on, so I'm picking Iowa State. And I'm taking MSU to upset Marquette. Though this is scary because MSU, when they beat Marquette 2 years ago, they were a 7 seed and Marquette was a 2 seed. And now the roles are reversed. So there could be some major revenge in play. So I would like to maybe see New Mexico win that first game. Just saying. Florida versus UConn. I think this is where the 3-peat bid ends for UConn. Florida moving on. Memphis, Grand Canyon. I'm going to take Memphis to win. Drake, Texas Tech. Ooh. I'm going to take Texas Tech. That could be a close game. But I'm going to take Texas Tech to win. Now here is potentially the matchup of the entire tournament. Arkansas, St. John's. John Calipari versus Rick Pitino. Both former Kentucky coaches. Both huge rivals in the landscape of college basketball coaches. Meeting in the second round of the NCAA tournament. This would just be an insane matchup. But I'm going to take St. John's to win. They have a much better team than Arkansas. But the coaching fallacies would be awesome to see there. So now we move up. Duke beating Mississippi State. I'm going to take Oregon to beat Arizona here, actually. Have them going to the Sweet 16. And another big one, VCU is going to take down Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is barely going to get past this first round game. I'm going to take VCU to move on to the second round, to the Sweet 16 with a win over Wisconsin. And then I'm going to have Alabama beating St. Mary's. Houston, Gonzaga. Controversial choice. However, I'm having Gonzaga move on, the first 1 seed to fall. Gonzaga has a lot more tournament experience than Houston. Also, I think Houston is the weakest 1 seed. So if anybody's going to lose first round, or first weekend, I should say, it's probably going to be them. Gonzaga, though, an up and down team, but they're dangerous. They're dangerous. Clemson and High Point. I'm going to take Clemson to win. Illinois, Kentucky. This is just a complete choke show, I would say. But I'm going to pick Illinois to win. This one, as long as they are fully healthy. And Tennessee to beat UCLA. So that is the entire second round chosen. Oop. Well, damn. Look at that. There's the user's pick in this matchup. I did not mean to click that button, by the way. And just because I don't want to see Auburn, I'm going to not pick them to win. Oops. We're going to pick Texas A&M to win. They beat Auburn in the regular season. I think they'll use that same strategy to a win here. And then MSU beating Iowa State to move on to the Elite Eight. Yeah, I like that rhyme. That was good, huh? That'll be a good one there. Florida beating Memphis. And then I'm going to choose it. Texas Tech beating St. John's. Wah, wah. I think they are really, really, really highly rated because of a weak schedule. And I think that's going to come back to bite them in the ass here. Unfortunately. I'd be okay with them winning that game personally, and I could very much see it happen, but I do not think it will. Now, this is going to be another big choice. Oregon beating Duke. Cooper Flag falling to the ground in shambles as Oregon moves on to the Elite Eight. And VCU's run comes to an end as well, with Alabama moving on to the Elite Eight. Then Gonzaga, Clemson. I'm actually going to take Gonzaga here. Clemson, I think, is a little highly rated, so I'm going to get Clemson the victory here, or Gonzaga the win here, to move on to the Elite Eight. And finally, Tennessee beating Illinois in the Orange rematch. These teams did face in Illinois early in the season, and Tennessee won on a buzzer beater, so I would... Anything is possible, guys. It's March. It's March. Look at the calendar at the bottom of my screen. It's March, baby. It's March. All right, we're on to the Elite Eight. Izzo's ninth Final Four, baby. Taking down Texas A&M. That's totally what's going to happen. Florida beating Texas Tech. Alabama beating Oregon. Because I think Oregon will just be completely overmatched by this point. Taking them in this matchup was a stretch. It can happen, though. Duke is, I think Duke is a very one-sided team, and I could definitely see them struggling. But I don't think Alabama will have that same issues with Oregon. See, I don't want 3 SEC teams in the Final Four. I don't. I really don't want 3 fucking SEC teams in the Final Four. However, I'm doing it. There's 14 teams, guys. There's 14 SEC teams. 14 of them. That's insane. How much? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just over a fifth of the bracket is SEC teams. That's insane. And by the time we get through the first 4, it could be even more than that. It could be like a fifth and a half. Or it could be like a fourth or a sixth. That's just insane, man. Anyways, rematch. Here's the Final Four. Here's my Final Four prediction. The 2000 National Championship rematch. MSU and Florida. Izzo beats them again. And Alabama versus Tennessee. Fuck Alabama. Tennessee is moving on. So we get a matchup of 2 seeds in the National Championship. MSU versus Tennessee. Guys, did you really think I was going to pick any different? Did you? If you did, you don't know me at all. You really don't. Booyah! I don't care that our 3-point shooting sucks. I don't care that we sucked from the free throw line the last month. I don't care that we actually don't really have any big guy presence. I don't care that Jeremy Fierce sucks. I don't care that Trey Holloman is a talking bitch. I don't care about any of that, because we're gonna win it all. Let's go. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. That's my pick, baby. There is my bracket. If you guys like my choices, let me know in the comment section down below. Yeah, so should be good. See ya.